Hello YouTube, welcome back to Assetto Corsa and welcome back to the reviews. So last week we had a look at the Le Mans circuit, Circuit de la Sarthe. Today we're going to be looking at another circuit. I thought I'd take a look at another circuit since I've got a whole bunch of new ones. And I thought I'd take a look at Algarve Circuit in Portugal, or otherwise known as Portimao. Now this is a very, very nice circuit. I have to admit that in real life it's a very, very nice circuit. Some information about this circuit. It was actually opened, I think, in 2008, but I'm gonna say this straight away. It doesn't feel like a new circuit. It doesn't feel like a new circuit at all. It was opened in 2008. I think it's 4.7 kilometers, or just about 4.7 kilometer circuit, so about 2.9 miles or so. And it is, like I said, in Portimao, and it has I don't even know how many corners it's got. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think it's 15 corners. 15 corners, but let me see if I can find any more information about that. But yeah, it is an FIA regulated circuit, FIM and FIA, and I think this circuit was used in 2010 as a testing circuit to Formula 1, so it has had Formula 1 there. It is 15 corners, by the way. It has, it has Formula 1. It's had the Super League Formula GP2, A1 Grand Prix, World Series by Renault, FIM Superbike, of course, the GT Championship. So this is a GT track as well. Algarve 2 hours small, endurance race, the GT3 European Championship, and you know how much I like GT3, another 2 hour race there. Le Mans Series 1000 kilometers of Algarve, Euro Series 3000. So it's had the different races. I mean, it's got 3 layouts, but I think only this one is available in this mod. But it does have 3 layouts. It has like an LMS layout, a GP circuit, and a motorcycle circuit as well as having a karting track. I believe there's a karting track there as well. So there's quite a few, and I think this was once on the calendar to be a Formula 1 track, but I don't think it ever happened. I don't think that ever happened at all. Anyway, more about this track. The track itself, like I said, doesn't feel like it's an old track. Like it's a new track. It feels very old, and the reason it feels very old is just the way the track is designed, just the way it flows, just the way the corners are. And I'll talk a bit more about that in the observations, but now we'll just talk a little bit about the mod. So this is, like I said, a mod. You can get it on Race Department. I'll leave a link in the description box below, as always, as I go off. And you can see that I'm kicking up some dust there. It sounds like gravel, or some sort of stone. So that's a bit odd. I'm going to talk about that as well. It's made by Thiago Lima. Thiago Lima, of course, made the Le Mans circuit as well, and there's some differences. I think there's some differences in the quality here. It's 133 megabyte download, and it's 373 megabytes when installed. So it is a big pack, and it's got 30 grid slots, fully working AI, all that kind of stuff. This, that, and the other, which is all good. As I start spinning around. And I'll talk about the spinning around in a while as well. Observations about this track. Well, first thing I noticed, and this is a massive downer. The textures are very flickery in a lot of places. So as you go around, you'll notice though you've got the Samsung boards there. Well, it's not really Samsung boards. It's sort of the seating's got the Samsung logos painted on them. You'll notice as we go around, you'll see a lot of flickering textures both in the replay box, and you'll be able to see it actually whilst I'm driving. So the cockpit view that I've got, there you go. You can see them over there on the side. You can see some flickering textures on the main pit paddock complex. So there are these flickering textures, and they do really cause some sort of issues. Now, I don't know why there are flickering textures, but there you go. You can see them. They are everywhere. They are everywhere, and it just seems like textures have sort of been doubled upon each other, or something like that. Something that shouldn't have happened seems to have happened, and it does make it very, very annoying. And it does distract your attention every time you see flickering textures everywhere. It does distract your attention. The other thing I noticed about it straight away is it feels Spartan, because there doesn't seem to be a crowd, apart from, I think, over one of the buildings seems to have some people in there, but it doesn't seem to have a crowd anywhere. And like I said, I mean, it feels like an abandoned racetrack, and I know to all intents and purposes it probably is an abandoned racetrack, because I don't think there's been some racing here for a little while. But there's no environment noise at all. Apart from the noise that you actually have of the track, so the tarmac and the gravel and stuff, there is no environment noise. It's silent. It's absolutely silent. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It makes it feel very, very abandoned. It makes it feel dull. It makes it feel boring. The track itself, the surface felt a little too slippery, and I'm using this in fast conditions, so obviously they're heading towards optimum, and the track surface does feel a little bit too slippery. Not majorly, just a little bit too slippery, maybe 5% too slippery or something like that. You know, it feels more like a green track when it's fast, and it feels more like probably a fast track when it's optimum. So it is not brilliant on that end either. Nevertheless, the mesh is very nice and smooth. The texturing as well is of a really good quality. And you know, there's force feedback, and it's set up fairly well. As you go over the rumble strips, you do feel it. As you go onto the gravel, you feel it. As you go onto the grass, you feel it. So it's very, very nicely done there. The track noises are set nicely, and the effects on the track are very, very good. Apart from maybe a couple of the effects are a bit wrong. Like for example, I think over here I ran wide or something at some point on my first lap or second lap. And I ran wide, and it felt like I was on a rumble strip the whole way round, so that wasn't brilliant. And of course there was the other one that feels like I'm going over rocks. Now that may be intentional, because I'm thinking there is gravel around that side, so if there's gravel on that side, perhaps some of the rocks have sort of made their way onto that tarmac, and sort of when you go over the tarmac, you've got this you've been hit by these little bit of chipstones or whatever you call them, stones just bouncing back in your wheel wells and up on the under tray of the cars or whatever. So there is that, and I'm just going to change the replay here to get a better replay, so you can see me changing around the replay. Let's go for that one. There are 4 track cameras available, which is really, really nice. I like that. It does make the replays very, very interesting. As you can see, I'm getting a little bit more used to the track, so I'm starting to set some faster lap times now. The replay, it does lag in places, but then again, how many of you are going to be using the replays? It's not a major deal, I suppose, unless you like watching replays, which I kind of do, and it does lag in places, which is a bit annoying. But this, the replay angles, though, on the other hand, really, really cool. There's some really neat camera angles that are around, and I really do like that. The track in itself, we'll go back to the track and how it feels to drive. It's a really, really nice track. The actual track in itself is really, really nice. It, like I said, I think twice already, it doesn't feel like it's an actual track, a modern track. It feels like a classic track. It's got undulation, it's got fast corners, it's got slow corners, it's got high speed straights, it's got high acceleration zones, low acceleration zones. It's really, really nice, and it feels like, in many ways, it feels like you're driving a roller coaster. I mean, you're going up, down, there's so many blind corners. As you can see, it's just blind corner after blind corner. And I can imagine taking this out in a Formula 1 car. If I took this out in a Formula 1 car, you wouldn't be able to see anything. In this car, I'm actually high up. But it's a really, really nice track, and it's the first time I've ever driven on this track. I mean, I know about the track, and I've seen people driving on this. I think I saw Chris Harris driving a P1, a LaFerrari, and a Porsche 918 on this. Comparing the 3 cars to see which one's faster. And naturally, I think the P1 was the fastest, and that wasn't even on its top tires. But anyway, that's another story for another day. The track is just, I've seen other people drive on it in real life. For a mod, it's a really well made mesh. The physical mesh of the track is really, really well made. It feels smooth where it's supposed to feel smooth. It feels bumpy where it's supposed to feel bumpy. And it goes up and down. It goes up and down as you'd expect. I mean, look at that downhill section. in a way you can sort of feel your stomach rising as it goes, you know, as you plunge downhill. You do have that feeling. So it's a really nice track. Downsides of it, like I said, is the flickering textures. It seems to be that the track scenery is the downside. The curbs are fine, the grass around the edge is fine, the crash barriers are fine, the gravel's fine, the actual texturing of the track is fine. It's just the scenery that it's been plopped into, or the scenery around it, that isn't too fine. That's the part that causes problems. It does look like a mod, and it does look out of date, especially the scenery looks out of date. Whilst the track looks fine, the scenery looks out of date, and it's all very static. I've noticed this, that it's all very static, and there's none, you know, there aren't collidable objects around, and it's there isn't even a flag. There aren't even flags waving, you know, Portuguese flags or something, or maybe Algarve flags that, you know, are flying around, that would make it look a little bit more alive. And of course, like I said, there's no crowd and there's no sounds to have a crowd, so that means that it doesn't feel alive anyway. So there's a downside on that. But you know, overall, I think apart from that and the distant scenery looking a bit, you know, sparse, I mean, if you look at it in the distance, you can see it does look a bit sparse. But then again, you know, I don't think this is in any area that's very highly detailed or very dense or anything. So there goes my voice. There is that as I slide around. Coming up towards, you know, the last couple of minutes of this video, I'm gonna say I have to give this track. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a 7.5 out of 10. It's a good track. Is it worth a download? I think if you've gone through all the other tracks that I've ever recommended, and you know, you've gone through the Assetto Corsa tracks, and you want something different, a new track to race on, perhaps with the AI, or perhaps just multiplayer, is it a track to download? I think so. I do think so, and the download link is going to be in the description box below, so do check that out. Is it a track to download if you haven't really taken out the full enjoyment of the other tracks? In that case, I would say perhaps it's worth holding off a bit, unless you are a particular fan of GT3 racing or GT racing and you want this track to add to your calendar, or you just really like Portugal, or you really like Portimao, or you just really like this track. If you fit into any of those three categories, definitely pick up this track. I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy this last lap. I believe I've got about half a lap to go. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa, and leave a comment in the comments box below. Let me know if you did pick up this track and what you think of this, because I'd really like to hear. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys next week.